when I joined ICRF in 1982, the group that I was in under John Fox, we were very much the beneficiaries of a policy of open release of software by the research community in the United States, and we were using what are now considered open source software tools, even back then, and that philosophy of sharing software without regard to intellectual property, and it being something that could be reused and built upon by other scientists, was a culture that came to dominate the bioinformatics community throughout the world. And it's still a very strong commitment to many people that we should be holding no intellectual property and holding no restrictions on access to our software and the source code that we use to write it, so that you can really build on that and indeed sort of investigate people's methodology, and that's really important. And I think that's, it's still an ongoing project to keep all of the software that we want to keep in the public domain and open source, because there are many pressures in certain areas that this should be protected by intellectual property and people can build companies out of it. But I think on the whole things have become very much more it's very much easier now to begin by starting from something that somebody else has done and not having to start from scratch, and that's a huge benefit to the research community. I think one of the changes that I've seen through my career is the importance of data as a source of scientific investigation in its own right. When I began my career, the data that was available to me from the collected DNA sequences in the public databases was very small. There were hundreds to thousands of individual sequences. Now we see multiple genomes. We're in the hundreds to thousands of genomes available. And the major development of the high throughput instrumentation, the availability of data openly accessible in public repositories has made a whole new scientific discipline in terms of that we can work on. And it's really, I think I've seen the development of the open science community evolve, in part in response to the way in which the molecular biology community opened up their access to data through agreements with journals that all sequences should be deposited in public databases. And that's a model that is being replicated in other science disciplines even now, where it isn't yet established as best practice.